But I might take this moment to specifically address that video, that mean and hateful video that was put out there with a lot of lies, that I think if the individual had just put a call to me, Ambassador, this is what I'm hearing. What do you have to say? Before they started spewing lies. And some of the lies are around, oh, she was dismissed from the AU. Do you understand the conditions that I worked under at the AU? Do you understand that I spend my own money for the AU? Do you understand that the first trip that was made by the chairman of the African Union, Musa Faki, when the chief of staff was trying to cancel such an important meeting because they couldn't get him on a flight from Senegal to the US, with 3 days to go, they were going to cancel a meeting of the AU chair with the President of the United States. I paid my own money, $35,000, to get business class seats for the chairman and 5 other people in his team. Do they know that? Why would I take 10,000? When they tried to sabotage me, I have Miss Pan Africa all set up. My contestants are already arriving in DC. I'm out of the country in South America. The sabotage that came out of the team at the mission, they don't pay the deposit, so the event can be canceled. If it were not for the likes of Sister Sylvia, who quickly sent me a message to say, Ambassador, they are canceling the event for non-payment. The man was there. They just didn't want to take the check, which I had already signed and left for them to deposit with the hotel. So what do? The letter was issued. The event was going to be canceled. So I put the charge, $25,000 deposit, on my credit card. When they wanted to cancel a diaspora event in Baltimore, I'm in Egypt. Again, they wait until I'm out of the country. A deposit was supposed to be made. I left a check that was already signed. All they had to do was take it to the hotel. No, they don't. If it were not for another employee at the hotel who happened to be from Zimbabwe, before the event could be canceled, they said, Ambassadors from Zimbabwe, can you please find out why they are not bringing the deposit? So she's the one who called me. And again, I put the deposit on my card. I can tell you, I rented a house, 10,000 square feet. AU doesn't have a house in DC. $3,000 housing allowance is what I received. Where do you live in DC for $3,000 housing allowance? I got my own house, 10,000 square feet, so I could properly represent my continent. Everybody thought the house I lived in DC belonged to AU. No, that was my house. It wasn't AU. And then the audacity to say I took money from AU. What a joke. What a joke. I keep hearing about this 10,000. That 10,000 never came to AU. It came to some guy called Constituency for Africa, Mel Foot. My sister, Gloria Hendon, she knew about that $10,000 that Mel Foot received from Chevron. It was supposed to be a contribution towards the hotel during one of the events. Mel Foot claims he was the one who was helping us. He was part of the fundraising team. But he says, oh, Chevron gave them the money after the event. So he spent it for his own event. Mel Foot is who received that $10,000. That was now spun around and made it look like it was something else. Gloria Hendon called Mel Foot and said, Mel Foot, why are you letting Ambassador take blame for money that you took? You need to say something. He refused. Sister Gloria Hendon can tell you that. I can go on and tell you the lies that have just been spun around. The people at the African Union were stealing money. I blocked all the holes that they were stealing money out of the AU. I messed up with their livelihood. So they set out to lie about me. That didn't stop me. I continued to do the thing I needed. I did not go to the AU. If I show you my contract with the AU, I was supposed to make $49,000 a year. Who leaves their work as a medical doctor to go and make $45,000 a year? It wasn't about money. When I went to the AU, I didn't go there for money. I can show you my contract. They graded me the lowest they could grade me because they did not want me to take the job. Those at the African Union. I did not start being paid what an ambassador should have been paid. I only found out over a year and a half later, 5 months before I left the AU, that I was being paid much less than everybody else. Because to me, I did not go to the AU for money. It was the other ambassador who said, no, they're abusing it. Look what they're paying me. I didn't know. Because it wasn't about money for me. So for anybody to try to say I stole from the AU, what a joke. The truth is there. The people who were with me, they know. They know what was done to me. And people, you choose to spread lies without even trying to find the facts. That mission, nobody knew about it. Even the State Department people didn't even know that the African Union mission still existed. It wasn't until I got there. And I must tell you guys, I get into trouble for defending African diaspora. I'm asked, why do you believe in these people? I hear stories like the continental Africans, they are nothing like poor taxi drivers and home caregivers. African Americans, I'm being told, why do you want to bring these criminals and drug dealers? Those from Caribbean, I'm being told, all they do is they're useless ganja smoking people. I defend all that because I know that's the narrative that's being put out there. I know better. And then I spend time fighting to defend all the rumors and how you're being classified. And you have the audacity of accusing me when I'm putting my own money, traveling. COVID, I was online for 16 hours a day, talking about Pan-Africanism, speaking our truth. Nobody paid me for that. I still travel, pay my own money, stay in hotels. No one pays me for that. And you have the audacity to accuse me of scamming you. You're coming from wherever you're coming from. You think you can just waltz into a country, buy a ticket, and get permanent residency? Yes, we wanted citizenship. The embassy was disappointed. Do you think the ambassador, Burkina Faso ambassador, would come and address you because it's a lie? Do you even question yourself? Common sense things. A group of us volunteers. We come together and meet just to mess with you. Who are you? What makes you so important that we would do this? Common sense. There are people who are lying. They're saying they're ADDI members. There's a woman in Burkina Faso who has been trying to see if ADDI can help her. She's not a member of ADDI. The police were called because she couldn't pay whatever she was staying. She couldn't pay for it. She claims to be an ADDI member. She's one of the people who's having the loudest voice. She's not an ADDI member. Some of the people who are talking the loudest, they weren't even going to Burkina Faso. But because it's fun to talk, because it's fun to spread lies, that's what they do. Well, guess what? We're not wasting our time with you. We're not wasting our time with you. The truth is out there. Nobody is scamming you. We don't need to scam anybody. I gave up. I had just spoken way back and they finally paid me $50,000. My team will tell you. I asked them to make a donation to ADDI. So this trip can be a success. We didn't have enough money. 50,000, I said, donate it to ADDI. It could have come to me. And then you have and I'm talking, this happened a month and a half ago, because I wanted to make sure we have enough money to make this trip a success. And you have the audacity to accuse me of scamming you? Shame on you. I don't mean to get angry, but this is disgusting, what is happening. And you all need to stop it. I'll turn it back to you, Sister Judith. Thank you guys for coming. Professor Lumumba, Reverend Maponga, ADDI leadership, members of ADDI, and Friends of Africa, thank you for coming to join us in this very important conversation. Conversations that we are going to talk about who we are as a people. Most of you have been calling Professor Lumumba, you have been calling myself, you have been calling Reverend Maponga, and you were saying, we can't keep talking. We want action. What are you guys going to do? So we got together and the opportunity came to go to Burkina Faso. And we could not have found a better place to come and begin this very important conversation than a country that is actually doing that which we desire. A country that represents what African leadership should look like and must look like and will look like going forward. So we're fortunate that we're going to be going to Burkina Faso at guest of the country, of the government. Yes, we started with citizenship, but this is a country with a government, a country with a parliament, a country whose parliament has decided, let's start with permanent residency. And even that is not something to sneeze at. Where do you go and just waltz in the country and be offered permanent residency? So permanent residency it is. It was the decision of the parliament. We had the ambassador with us week before last, and he explained the process. He explained we started out with citizenship, but last minute our pathway was supposed to be different. Our pathway was supposed to be by presidential decree, but the parliament felt that we should go slow and start with citizenship. It is a permanent residency rather. So it is what it is. We are going to go home to Burkina Faso. We're going to start with citizenship as a pathway, permanent residency as a pathway to citizenship. And those who want to come will come. Those who are supposed to be there will be there. The naysayers with their many accusations about a lie. I don't know why a group of us would meet early hours of the morning to accommodate people in Africa, late hours at night to accommodate people in Africa, just to mess with you, just to scam you of $500, when I am putting my own money to add it to ADDI, so this event can be a success. And then to do all that, and then have people accuse you of scamming them. What a joke. What a joke. My people, you need to wake up. You need to wake up. The facts and the truths are there. The team knows what I go through, the sacrifices I make to make these things happen. Some are even accusing me that I've never met President Traoré. That is all a lie. I never took people to Burkina Faso. That is all a lie. Why are we doing this? And then even those content creators who know very well that have been to Burkina Faso, that we met with the president, that he was grateful for what we did, they too are giving that a blind eye. The question is why? I've always known that among us we have some traitors planted to create wahala, like we call it in Africa, drama. Well, guess what? You guys are going to continue your drama, but we will continue to move on with a few. We understand that the building of the Africa we want is only going to be done by a handful of us. The majority of you are going to remain sambos. And you will continue to be used as instruments of your own self-destruction. Continue on that lane. But the few of us who get it, we will move on. You can continue with your lies. They're not going to change who I am. I know who I am. I know what I stand for. The people who've been with me since I left the AU, they're still with me because they know the truth. They know that there are lots of lies out there. They have worked with me and they know what I go through. For you to even have the opportunity to become a permanent resident of Burkina Faso. How dare you accuse people who work so hard to help you? Shame on you. And I'm sorry to say this, but shame on you. Because I know what these volunteers do. And I know what they go through. And you are spitting in their faces for working for you. On that note, I'm going to introduce you my brother, another Pan-African who speaks the truth, who understands the importance of unity among us as a people. That we don't have to like each other, we don't have to love each other, we don't have to agree all the time, but the conversations must begin. And the conversations must be had in good spirit. A spirit of Pan-Africanism, a spirit that says we are one heart, one mind, one soul, one body, as we come together to build the Africa we want. My brother doesn't need any introduction. You all know him very well. He is an African voice. For years, he's been singularly the voice calling out bad leadership in Africa, demanding that we need better. Please join me, put your hands together, and welcome our icon, our own professor, our own true African leader coming out of West Africa, our very own Professor Lumumba. Professor, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, my sister. I've had the opportunity of listening to those who have spoken before me. And you know, when I listened, it reminded me of a speech made by Martin Luther King Jr. in the difficult days when they were struggling in the liberation of African Americans. Sometimes I feel discouraged. And Luther King said that what made him wonder was the vilification by the very people that he was working for. But then he said a spirit came to him and he only chose to do the right thing. One of the things that we must do for the continent of Africa is to remain in unity, the difficulties notwithstanding. I speak from a place called Swakopmund in Namibia. And this morning, as I was walking, and I was alone in the beaches of Swakopmund, and 9 out of 10 people who are walking in the morning were white. And yesterday, as we were driving into Swakopmund, I was told that 70% of the land in Namibia is still in the hands of German whites. That is the state of Africa. And the reason why we remain in that state is because of our disunity. And ours, therefore, is to move from what we have been engaged in for a long time, lamentation, and accusing each other and vilifying each other and undermining each other. So let us ignore the naysayers. Let us ignore those who are still laboring under a low self-esteem, those who still believe that we who are Africans must be hewers of wood and drawers of water. Let us do what we must. It is not going to be a cakewalk. It is not going to be easy. We are going to be called names. We are going to be accused of everything on earth except the crucifixion of Christ. But we must remain dedicated to our agenda. And that agenda, as you've rightly said, my dear sister, is that we don't have to agree on everything. We simply have to identify what our target is. And our target is to ensure that Africans, wherever they are, in the United States of America, in the Caribbean, in Europe, in Australia, in the mother continent, work with one resolve and in unanimity. That is only if we work together that we can achieve what we ought to achieve and begin to do what we need to do for generations of Africa who live now and those yet to be born. So let us surge ahead. Burkina Faso is only the early days of this journey. You will remember we were with you in Ghana, and as it is, things are happening there. And we will move from country to country, from village to village, doing what we must. And in that journey, perhaps out of 10, only 2 will remain. But that is as it should be, because it is not for the faint-hearted. So this evening or this morning, for you who are in the United States of America, what I would urge you is to liberate yourselves from the chains of rumors. There is something that I love about the Rotary Club. I'm not a Rotarian myself, but they have a 4-way test. Is it the truth? Does it benefit? Does it bring goodwill? And I also love Socrates' test. When somebody wants to tell you something about anybody, the first thing you ask, is it true? Number 2, is it beneficial? If you can't pass the 3-way test, don't say it. But unfortunately, it's in the nature of human beings that they are animated, almost titillated by the lies that are manufactured by those who do not mean well. But ours is to rise above the din of lies and to do what we must. And doing it we will. So I wish you good deliberations in the hope that we will concretize. Those who are well-intentioned will be present in Burkina Faso and thereafter in other African countries, and we will make our contribution in making Africa great as it used to be before we were undermined by the enslavers, the colonizers, and now neo-colonizers. I conclude with this. Let us not imagine that within our ranks there are fifth columnists planted by the neo-colonizers for the purpose of torpedoing whatever we are doing. Let us not imagine for one moment that those whom we want to liberate ourselves from are sitting pretty. No, they are not. Knowing that as we do, wisdom not only requires but demands that we are on our guard and that we should not be victims of naivete, believing that everybody is singing hallelujah. Thank you very much and be blessed.
Thank you so much, Professor. Go ahead, Your Excellency.
Yeah. Let's see. Thank you very much, Professor, for the kind words and the words of wisdom from one of our elders who's been around the block a few times, who understands the games that are played. He understands that we have to stay steadfast because this journey is not for the faint-hearted, as he says. Thank you, Professor Lumumba. We look forward to seeing you in Burkina Faso, where the conversations are going to begin, the conversations about how we move forward as a united front of Africa. Thank you again. I know you have to attend another event. You're currently visiting in Namibia. Enjoy those wonderful beaches and continue to give our best regards to the president of Namibia. We appreciate you. Thank you, Professor, so much.
Thank you very much and be blessed.
Thank you.
Your Excellency, I'm not sure if Reverend Mapunga joined on the call, as a panelist on the call. So if
I will check and see.
Yeah, he's
He
here
was
under another name or something.
he told me he was on standby, but we can move on with the program. I'll send him a message and make sure he's in Botswana. He's currently traveling in Botswana.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
thank you so much for that. All right. So today,
actually, we have is Sister Esmira. She also wanted to say a few words. Is Sister Esmira on the call?
Sister Esmira, if you're there, can you signal? She may be as an audience member. I hope not. Not that I see her at the moment. Can you please send me a note if you're on here,
Okay.
and then we'll revert back to you. So
okay.
On that note, since Professor Lumumba has spoken, we want to move into the Pan-African conversations where Ms. Yvonne Katsande and Ms. Tanisha Cephas would go ahead and moderate. So if you want to speak a little bit about the two of them and what they're presenting to us, we would appreciate it. And then Ms. Tanisha and Ms. Yvonne.
Okay. So the program in Burkina Faso is going to be conversations about the topics that are to be discussed while we are in Burkina Faso. We have two very prominent females. One of them is a journalist out of South Africa, LN24. Just to show you the support that we are getting from the community, her station is donating their time, the entire crew. They're flying from South Africa at their own expense to come and cover us. That's what people do when they believe in unity. The entire crew, they're funding their own way to come and cover us for 2 weeks in Burkina Faso. Do you know how much that costs? But they're doing it because they believe in what we can accomplish when we come together. Miss Yvonne Katsande from LN24 out of South Africa is going to be the key moderator. With her is Miss Tanisha Cephas out of Los Angeles. She too, as a volunteer, called up and said, Ambassador, I am answering the call. I am standing up. What can I do? And I said, dear daughter, what can you do? He said, I can help organize with the Pan-African conversations. These are conversations I believe in. These are conversations that must take place. She originally is from the islands. She now lives in LA, but her heart is in Africa. So she too is coming in with years of experience in media. She's going to be working with Yvonne, and the two of them are going to make sure that we have a wonderful panel, wonderful discussions, and come up with resolutions that we can all agree on to say, as we move forward, as we come together to support President Traoré, this is our commitment to them.
There's a lot of you doing great things for yourselves and your families, individually. However, we have not mastered the art of doing it as a group. That is the differentiator between us and every other ethnicity or cultural group or a country that's out there who is developed or more developed than us. Even the Latinos, even the Jewish people, the Asians, all of those people are able to come together, work and build together. The only people who can't do that are my brothers and sisters. Let's think about that for a second. Why? We live in their countries. We eat their food because they struggled, they built. Some of us even helped build the countries that we're living in and benefiting from. Yet, we cannot support each other to go back and build our continent. Why do we do what we do? So when someone brings a vision to us, when someone gives us the hopes that we could not think of ourselves, when somebody stands up and says, please back me up, I will go to the forefront, I just need some support in the back, why would we rather stab them in the back? So I say to you today, for those of you who attended the Go to Black call that happened on, I think that was on Friday or 2 days ago, I have no worries with whatever your subject matter was on there. What I have an issue with were the untruths, the misinformation, The fact that you didn't even follow due process. And I think, to use the words on the show for the people who attended and who actually spoke, for the individuals who were on that panel, they said they did not do their due diligence. Due diligence. What is due diligence? Due diligence is when you make sure everything you are doing, saying, and or touching is correct. They did not do their due diligence before they went onto that show. Because if they did, they would have understood a few things, which I'm going to mention to you today. ADDI was created by Dr. Arikana, Her Excellency, as a vision for us Africans. Everyone who works with ADDI is a volunteer. No one is paid to work with ADDI. I am a volunteer. I do it wholeheartedly because I realize that everyone cannot do the work. Few people are going to do the work that majority are going to benefit from. And it's pretty easy to sit, again, I learned the term in America, Monday night quarterbacking. It's very easy to sit and analyze a football game when you were sitting on your couch and eating your chips. What did you contribute? Do you know how the game works? Can you play? What are we doing for Africa as opposed to Monday night quarterbacking on each other? The second thing I'd like to mention today is character. When you go on a show and defame someone's character without having any proof and without being able to submit any proof or receipts, as they call it now on social media, you've got to be mindful. I don't think ADDI will be standing here if Her Excellency wasn't the person that she was. Hearsay is a beautiful thing because when you hearsay, you don't have the original information. You don't even know what the information is. You're only hearing say. And anything that's not coming from the person or the source itself, it's hearsay. So I plead with you as brothers and sisters, before you go out there and open your mouth and say something about someone you do not know, make sure you have it directly from the source of the information. The third thing I'd like to say, again, around today's conversations, and I'm hoping some of our panelists will pick up on some of these topics and talk through within what they want to say, is everyone on here within the countries and within the communities you live, you do have rights. If anyone violates your rights, you do know what to do with those rights. You file suits, you do what you need to do. Again, that's part of due diligence. If someone violates you and your rights, you are required, and actually it's your responsibility to actually make sure you exercise your right. One of the privileges we have on here is, as citizens of the United States or whatever countries you may belong to, is the right to vote, the right to vote out anybody you don't want, the right to make your voice heard where you need your voices heard. Make sure the voice you're making heard is on the right side and not for the wrong things. You're free to join as a volunteer for ADDI. If you see that something we're doing as ADDI is not working, you're free to join ADDI, become a volunteer like each and every one of us. Help us fix whatever process you think is broken. Her Excellency cannot execute on everything she has a vision for. The other thing I'd like to say is there's a process. Regardless of what grievance or thing you may have, there's always a process on how you address that. Are we doing that? If we cannot take into recognition all of the different processes we want to create for ourselves, how can we trust ourselves to go ahead and follow them when we build the Africa we want? As a matter of fact, teamwork. If we cannot work with each other, if you come to work with me only to pick out the faults I have, we'll never make a team. But if you work with me and give me constructive feedback, I might learn a thing or two from you. So now, what impact are you having on me? Are you helping me grow or are you bringing me down? What kind of teamwork do you want to be remembered for? Donations, which is where I think the majority of things occur. Donations. As a 501c organization, we accept donations. As a matter of fact, there are many people who would rather donate than participate. Donations are a key part of everything we do because, as I mentioned, it's a not-for-profit organization. It's a vision for Pan-Africans and Africa as a whole for everyone to benefit from. If For me to be able to help you as an ADDI member, somebody has to donate their time, their money, their resources, and everything they need in order for us to help others. So donations as a key for why we exist. And I don't see why anyone should blame us for taking donations. That's the sole purpose of us being able to help everyone. So I plead with you, when you donate, our process requires that in some cases you would pay for certain things, other cases you will donate. And we've been requesting donations and giving you the reasons why we do that. So I'd appreciate you when you want to say we're collecting your money and scamming anyone out of it. Please have your proof that we are scamming you and that we have not solved the problem as you would like it to be. And then chapters. Again, I want to end on a positive note. Our talks today are for all of us to learn how to speak to each other. I speak to you from the heart today, not with the authority of Her Excellency. I decided to make this speech myself as a volunteer, as a Pan-Africanist, as an African citizen who comes from a country whose country is going through the worst struggle ever. As a matter of fact, just so you all know, my country is going through elections tomorrow. That outcome, I think, is being anticipated by everyone across the world. And it is a good example of all the struggles that Africa is going through at the moment. So when we work together, we achieve a lot. And in life, they say, when you know better, you do better. So I want to end my introductory note by saying, let's respect how we speak about each other. Let's know what we're taking out to the public. Let's not use distractions to take away from the things that we could do for ourselves. And if you think we're not doing things correctly, please join us as a member of ADDI, and we will join and make things better for you, I, and everybody else for Pan-Africa. So with that said, I am going to call on Mr. Anthony Taylor to talk about our liaison and our community building process for Africa. Thank you for appreciating me and my opening remarks.
Thank you, Sister Judy, for those wonderful words and encouraging words and words that we need right now. And I'm going to come to you this morning on a similar vein because, like yourself, I've noticed, and I want to speak to those content creators that are making these defamatory claims, and they are just sending out a message that is so counterproductive. And I say to them, before you make those claims, get the facts, get it. I get it. It's hard to resist a great story for clicks. I get it. It's money. I get it. But get both sides of a story, and then you can make an educated determination based on facts, not emotional trigger words like scam or scamming or scammer. The fact of the matter is ADDI members were offered citizenship to Burkina Faso. The key word being ADDI members. The ADDI membership fee is $365 for Americans and the diaspora that's living in Europe. $365. That is $1 per day. For the Caribbean and Africa, it's $100. The $365 membership fee was used to purchase a container full of books and medical supplies to be donated to Burkina Faso. The registration fee you alluded to is $500. Now, if you hop on a plane and you go to, which is your expense, by the way, your plane and your own hotel, ADI is not going to pay for that. That's your expense. But let's say you hopped on a plane and you landed in Burkina Faso. You have to get around, so you know what you're going to do? You're going to rent a car. Well, if you rent a car in Burkina Faso, in Ouagadougou, it's $50 a day. And let's say you rented that car for $50 a day for 10 days. Your total cost would be $500. And good luck finding your way around a French-speaking country. For the same $500, ADDI provides buses for not 10 days, but 14 days. These buses run from early in the morning until midnight. They shuttle our member participants to and from their hotels, to the venues throughout the day and night. Members also receive a backpack with t-shirt, polo shirt, a beret, and a lanyard. It also includes admission into the business showcase and the Pan-African conversations, where dynamic speakers discuss real problems and, more importantly, solutions to the issues affecting our people. These venues for these events, they cost. In addition to that, there's live entertainment, DJs, pool parties, dinners, etc., all included in that one-time $500 registration fee. Now, as far as Wakanda goes, you need financial support from your people to build anything. Our people are complaining about the $500 registration fee, of which ADDI is in the hole and are seeking out sponsors to make the difference. So let's think about this. And you let me know who's robbing who. This is vicious hit pieces out there on the internet. I am calling on you content creators to retract those vicious attacks on this great woman's character and her outstanding ADDI organization. For the record, all of ADDI leadership and volunteers, of which I am one, are volunteers. Obviously, money is not our motivation. Please retract your hit piece. It is counterproductive to achieving the Africa we want. And if we successfully discredit our leaders, shame on you. Who else has been out there advocating for us and educating us about the plight of Black people all over the world? And then, more importantly, organizing us to make a difference. And Ambassador Arikana works tirelessly. Some of you are so quick to tear down one of our own, so quick to tear down someone that's actually building and making a difference and making things happen. Shame on you. And with that, I yield my time back to Sister Judith.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Thank you so much for that. I hear you, and I think the audience hears you as well today. So with that said, I would really like, Excellency, I don't know if you'd like to do an introduction for our professor as he's about, let me see if he's still on. Yeah, he's still on. So would you like to introduce Professor, or can he go out?
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make Africa great. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, Africa.